Debugging, it's more than just clicking on that step into button. It's a whole discipline, and I feel that Lazarus and FreePass will give us pretty much most of the tools that we need in order to be able to do it properly. So debugging, it's a core part of programming, and probably many of us would have learned the hard way when it's, let's say, 5 o'clock and you're wanting to go home, but you're stuck behind your desk because you're still trying to track down a bug that you need to fix in order for the build to work, to go ahead. So when I was at university and learning how to, develop software, debugging was almost treated as a subject unto itself. And today also you'll find there are books which are dedicated to the topic. Over the last year since this program or channel started, I have made a few videos on the topic, but I thought what I might do today is to bring everything together under one umbrella. So what we're going to look at here are some of the techniques which you can use for debugging your software, as well as using the interactive debugger. And we're also going to look at the settings which you can use to make debugging a maybe not necessarily joyful, but a more productive experience. So we're not going to be using any other tools other than what comes with free Pascal or Lazarus. So buckle in and let's get started. So what are some of the ways in which we can debug our software if we're not going to be using an interactive debugger? Well, first of all, there are assertions, and there are also, and related to that is invariants. That's like pre and post conditions. There is also unit testing. There is also logging. Let's say static analysis. This can be the odd one, but just bear with me. Code reviews, if you've got someone else with you. Memory checking as well. And there are other ones, which are available, such as, being removing code till the bug disappears and then just adding bits in until you can find it. So whether or not you whether or not you can do interactive debugging, there are additional tools which you can use. So the first one we're going to look at is assertions, and there's nothing magical that you need to include in your users clause in order to use an assertion or have invariants. They come out of the box and it's just basically using an assert function, and it basically has two parameters. The first one is a condition and the second one is a message. Now if the condition fails, then this message is output and the program will terminate. So if I don't have a file name, this message here will be output, and like I said, the program will terminate, which gives you some sort of clue as to what went wrong in that function. More useful if we are doing a test case, but we're going to come up to that in a minute. Another invariant, so this would be pre and post conditions then are your invariants, and I might have a post condition of, well, having read from the file, I would expect the result to contain something to send back to the user because this is a web-based application here. So what we're looking at now is that the result, has some data in it, and if it doesn't have any data, then that would go to the screen, program exits, and I've got information which I can use to determine what the problem was or where the problem is in my program code. So assertions are pretty easy to use. The only thing to be aware of is the compiler settings which you use when you build a program in order for assertions to become used. But we're going to come up to that in a little tiny bit. The next one is unit testing. So unit testing, if you do want to have unit tests in your code, then you will need to include the FPC unit. Typically what you would be doing is creating your test cases. You can then register your test class so that if you have a test project for a unit, for example, you can then basically run that test project and it would run all those tests. Output results to tell you which one succeeded, which ones failed, etc. And then you can take those results and apply any fixes as needed. Now, I have done a video about this particular topic, and we will make sure that there is a link in the description below so that you can have a look at that in more detail, yourself. Okay, so the third one will be logging here. So, logging. If you do want to use the logging functionality that comes out of the box with free Pascal and Lazarus, then, or I think Lazarus more so, you will need to make sure that you include the Laz utils package in your project. If you do that, then you won't have any dramas with using the Laz logger. And it again, I have done a video on this particular topic here, but typically all you would have to do at the end of the day would be to use the appropriate debugging functions from this particular unit here, and the information would go to a file. The Laz logger is fairly basic in its operation, and there are other logging utilities, maybe one, for example, one provided by Mormot, which has more features in it. It just depends on your requirements as to what you use. But out of the box, there is a Laz logger class that you can use to perform logging to help you with debugging your code, whether you're doing it locally or if we're going to be at a customer site. Now, static analysis, it's not really something, we don't have a dedicated tool per se, and what static analysis is finding bugs without running the program. So maybe the opposite of using an interactive debugger, what it can, and for the free Pascal developer, it means looking at things like the output of the compiler and to inspect your source about, let's say suspicious activity. Things like, code that can't be reached would be one thing. Unused variables, perhaps, variables not being initialized and so on. Look at that information, check it out, see whether or not, how it should be acted upon or used or removed even. So there is that one. And of course, there are flags which you can use to whether or not you want to show just warnings or warnings and hints, and so on there. There's also tools for refactoring. There's also your mode specific, checking whether or not you're using object Pascal or Delphi, which is a little bit more permissive about things. Again, there's also range and overflow checking that you can use in your programs, and in when you're debugging. So all these things, can help to make that job a bit easier. So even if you are writing code by yourself, you can still review your own code. That could be through, looking at the output from the compiler and then checking the code and then making the appropriate changes if they're needed. Another way might be to say, well, is this function too long? Is it overcomplicated? Does it do what I need it to do? Is it formatted correctly? Am I following my style guide that I want to be that I should be using? So when you look at the code, you can put all these questions to it, and maybe put that into like a checklist even, to make sure that if something does go wrong, you've got an easy way of being able to identify the cause, and again to make yourself to make that job of tracking let's say an issue in your code a little less painful. So the last one we're going to look at now is memory checking, and to do that, all you need to do really is to include the heap trace unit in your project. Over here then you'll find that there are a bunch of other options you can set, but I think I have done a particular video on this one, so I would suggest you check out that one. Again, we'll make a playlist, it'll be in the description below. But what will happen then is when the program exits, you'll get information about, if and where memory has leaked in your program. So it's a great little tool if you are concerned about memory being leaked when you run your software. Again, that's part of the heap trace unit. So this last part is probably the bit you're waiting for, where we are going to look at using the internal debugger here. A few parts here, all going to sort of roll into one somehow, but essentially what we're going to look at here are debugger settings, compiler settings, and how to run the program or build your program. So first thing to note would be if you are wanting to check or debug a certain function, for instance, you can just click on the gutter to set a breakpoint. They're visible, within your bottom part here, so you can add and remove those if you need to. You've got then also the F7 and F8 to step into. So there are a bunch of keys you should be familiar with, if not the toolbar here. But really what I want to, probably the three things to think about are going to be, how do I build a program, what debugger to use, and what compiler settings should I use. Perhaps the easiest ones to start with is when you do want to do debugging, you need to make sure you've got the right compiler options turned on. You run with debugging as opposed to without debugging. But when you go to build it, use the clean up and build function at least the first time. Because what that will do is delete, remove any remnants of a previous build, which may contain optimized code. Because when you do the cleanup and you remove those files, there's going to essentially be building from the source and using whatever the latest compiler settings you've set up. And your compiler settings are controlled through your project options here. So when we want to look at our compiler settings in here, and you can set up different build modes, say one for release versus a debug, and use those accordingly. But here what you'd be using for your, at least for your compiler settings, would be no optimization, because optimizations can rearrange your code so it won't, how it looks and how it performs may be slightly different. But so use no optimizations for debugging, or at a pinch you can use optimization level 1, which is quick, debugger friendly with small limitations. You do not want to have things like smart linking and anything else turned on there. You would want to have all of your range checks and assertions turned on here. Make sure you've got run uses the debugger, disable for release mode. You want to make sure that you also generate information for the debugger, type of debugging information, etc. By the way, this heap trace unit, that's for checking memory leaks. You can have that one turned on. And you've also got these other tools that you can also use, things like valgrind, and so on there. So make sure you got the, the options turned on for debugging, as well as, your range, or your checks and assertions enabled there. Hit your OK button. Now your code may be a little bit bloated in terms of the actual size, because you are going to have both the actual program code plus debugging information all contained within the one executable. But once you've built that one and it performs how you want, you could then, let's say, build it with with your optimizations turned on, debugging information stripped out, and so on. I have done a video about build modes in Lazarus and Free Pascal, so check that one out after you've seen this one. So hopefully you'll see from this particular video that debugging is more than any one tool. It's like a whole toolbox. There's assertions, unit testing, memory checking, code review, static analysis, to name but a few. So and there's going to be times also when you will want to use that debugger as well, but that also means then knowing what the settings are to use before you set that breakpoint and so on. Remember also that debugging is a loop where you will identify a fault, work out what caused that fault, you can then fix it, test, and so on, and that becomes a loop that you'll be going over and over. And perhaps the best part is, maybe, everything I've shown today is all part of Free Pascal and Lazarus. Nothing that you have to pull from any external source in order for it to work. With that debugging, doesn't have to feel so much like a chore. We'll just put a question mark there, but you know, it is part of the craft of software development and coding. Once you start to incorporate, you know, all of these techniques into your own workflow, you may be finding yourself, you know, spending less time on chasing down hard bugs and hopefully doing things you enjoy, whether that's the programming itself or at 5 o'clock going home. And if you aren't, you know, if there are things from this video that you aren't doing, maybe you could try to put them or incorporate them into your next little program, so that when you do go into the debugger itself, you know, you may find yourself stepping through code that's a little bit cleaner and easier to reason about. So until next time, happy coding.